Hola mis latinos que están mirando esto. Lo hicimos.
Hello, and welcome to Behind the Slate, where I sit down with fellow voice actors and other industry artists to have a fireside chat. I'm your host, Christian O'Boyle. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website at christianoboyle.com. In this episode, I'll be talking with voice actress Yenni Ann. She has been a part of the voice acting community for about over a year now, mostly heard as Casting Call Club's Twitch host on Center Stage. She is also part of CCC's marketing team and holds monthly special guest nights on Center Stage, where she meets and talks to different creatives in the VA world. Yenni is also voiced in game trailers, video games, animations, audiobooks, and audio dramas. On the side, she spends time taking pictures of her cat and drinking a nice glass of wine.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? That's what I say.
Chrissy, I can't do this.
No,
This is so
it's
difficult.
totally-
Oh my God. Okay, now, how am I doing? I am doing well.
I mean, you can ask me. It's totally fine. I'm doing good too.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing good. I mean, it has been a very crazy week. I got some ridiculous news that I can't talk about, but I said I was just gonna bring up that I had ridiculous news. And yeah, and I'm like really, really excited about it because it's the first one. And in 2019, I decided that I was gonna put a very specific goal in mind, and I got that goal right on January, in January.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to post more about it. But I can't right now. But it's really, really good, and I think that this is where the whole fighting for what you believe in and doing things even though you might not have the key people that you would like to believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to get far. And
Right.
I definitely learned that this
Yeah.
past year.
Yeah, I definitely agree that if you don't believe in yourself, then
Oh yeah.
you're losing already. You have to believe in
Right.
yourself before people can believe in you. You have to have confidence before people have confidence in you.
Oh, of course. And that works for voice acting so well because
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, so I work for Center Stage and I work for CCC too. I was going to wear my CCC shirt, but I'm going to wear it like almost every day in in voiceover Atlanta. So I was like,
Yeah.
let me just wear my Nintendo 64 thing, because this is the time that I wish I would have been a voice actor when Nintendo 64 was still a thing, because I would have been a great Nintendo 64 person. You know, I could have been Mario. No, I could have been.
But you could have been one of those like kid voices.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I like being a little kid sometimes. Yeah,
But you wouldn't have to force it. You would have been a little kid at that time.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Wow,
We were
thank you for
kids
reminding
during
me.
N64 era.
Oh my God. This is the things that happen to me a lot. Like, my buddy Tony Weiss, he's yo buddy too.
Yeah, he is.
He's our buddy. So he did, I talk to him like daily, and I was telling him about his demo reel skills, and I wanted to say your producing is superb, like, you know, it's like awesome.
Fabulous.
And I said subpar. And he's like, well, Yenni, you know, I guess it is subpar. And I'm looking at the message, I'm like, Tony, that's not what I meant. That's not, it's just sometimes my Spanish and my English just kind of go in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I'm talking to you right now and it's coming in Spanish as well. And I'm like, dang it, what's that word? And then now I'm learning Korean. And I'm just like, now I have 3 languages. And I used to know a lot Japanese and French, but I kind of weaned off those and I'm focusing on Korean.
Right.
And now I just jumble up stuff in my head all the time. Now I'm just all the time like saying things in English.
So many things. Translation, not good.
Yeah.
Are you fluent Spanish? Like not fluent, but are you native? Was Spanish your first language?
So my first language was Spanish. I'm Cubana. So hola mis latinos que están mirando esto. Lo hicimos. So so I just said hi my Latin people. We did it. We made it. We're here. We are here. So my both of my parents are Cuban, and I was the first generation born here.
Mhm.
So I am the only one that really knows English in my family, me and my sister and a few cousins, and it's really funny. But now lately, because we like all the kids learn Spanish, then like all the adults just know like bits and pieces of Spanish of English. I'm
Right.
saying it wrong. All the kids learned English, and then because of that, they learned English. And I started my first language was Spanish, but then Elmo and Barney came out, and Barney and Elmo were not in Spanish. So I was
not in Spanish. Emma's English.
oh my god, crazy! I love it. That was awesome. It was so yeah.
Yenni Ann.
Oh my god, I love it. You know, Elmo and Big Bird were like my jam, and
Right.
now they brought the new character who's in the autism spectrum, which I forgot her name.
Oh, I've heard.
Yes.
I don't know the name. I've only heard mention of it
No,
once.
I don't know it either, but in the 20,000 titles that I've had in my life, I was a therapist for children in the autism spectrum,
Hmm.
and it was really, really nice to see that because I too have someone in my family who's in the spectrum. So it was just a really nice thing. I think they're doing a really cool job, and like those are the types of like jobs like I hope to have one day. Like one of my goals is to be in a long going. I think that's everybody's goal, to just be in a
Right.
series for like ever, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's like a never ending thing, but it's cool, and you know you're teaching kids, and I think that's probably one of the most rewarding things I could do in voice acting or just in general is to help kids or to
So,
help them think of something in
so would
life.
you want to possibly do something in children games?
Oh, definitely. That's children games for me are so cool because I am that aunt that buys like all the kids like only educational stuff. Like
Right.
from Tia Yenni, Tia Yenni is not gonna give you, you know, like silly stuff. No, no, no. Everything is gonna be educational. Like the first when I said to my sister, hey, like I'll go ahead and I'll buy him like some sort of electronic device. I got him the Leap Pad. And
Right.
so I buy all the games for the Leap Pad, and I love it. And I think it'd be so cool to do e-learning. I think that's
Ooh.
a really cool thing, and it doesn't take a lot. Just being smooth when you talk, understanding, acting as if you're talking to a child is an easy way to go through it.
Mhm. Especially being bilingual, I heard is actually really
Oh yeah,
beneficial for being in. It's not required, but it's definitely um,
right,
highly looked on
right.
in that industry.
And I'm
Sometimes.
trying now to do a lot more Spanish things. My only issue is just like in English, there are different accents of English, there's different accents of Spanish.
Right.
And the issue with that is that I am a total Cuban.
Hmm.
And like, when I mean Cuban, I mean like my Spanish, sometimes I go really quickly or I make like an accent that shouldn't be there. And
Hmm.
usually you do have a, what's it called? A specific Spanish accent that you're supposed to use. It's like a neutral Spanish. And
Right.
I'm learning that because that is very difficult.
Right.
Especially if you're used to, you know, like every morning in a Cuban household, it's like you hear the Cuban coffee being made, and you hear people like, and it's 8 a.m. and they're just like, yeah, talking about the whole world, and they're laughing, and we're just really loud. So because we're loud, I get worried that like, you know, like I'm doing the e-learning in Spanish, and I'm like, y esto es lo que pasó aquí, and then I start like talking in Spanish, and it's the wrong thing. So I have to work on that before I decide to do any Spanish e-learning. But you will find me. I promise. I will be there in Spanish, hopefully.
I
Someday.
give you a maximum of 2 years, and you'll be doing amazing e-learning stuff.
Yes, thank you. I love the good vibes. You're gonna have amazing stuff too in 2 years.
Well,
Less
thank
than
you.
2 years. It's a really big thing, let me tell you. I don't know about you, but I do full-time work and I try to do full-time voice acting. I can't say it works out. Yeah,
And
great.
family
And family. I
and
want my cat.
photography.
I wish I could show you right now. Just my cat's just in the bed there, just like chilling and watching me. But That's my family too. And I also am in a long distance relationship. I also have friends. So there's so many things, and it's so terrifying sometimes because I'm like, how do I do it? Like, don't you ask yourself something like, Christian, how did you do it? Like, how did you do today where you went to work at 9 to 5, you come home, I take an hour to get home. So I have an hour commute, and that perfect example, Wednesdays for me is ridiculous. I come home at like 6:30. I work out, I eat, and then I immediately have to jump into center stage, and I'm there for an hour, 2 hours, depending if I'm like interviewing someone or we're just doing specific script reads. And it's like, when I'm in bed, I think about it and I'm like, I'm Superwoman. I'm definitely Superwoman right now. Because and then, you have to do this on the weekends too, because it's a nonstop thing. Your 9 to 5 stops on Friday and then it resumes on Monday, but that doesn't work for voice acting. It's whenever they're like, hey, can you do this right now? And you're like, yes.
No, yes, maybe.
Yes, I'll do it right now.
Give me 2 hours. I'll be home.
Yes. So, which is another thing too. I really, really look up to full-time voice actors, and I wish so hard that one day I will get there. But because I come from a family, I'm going into a little bit of my past. Coming from a Hispanic family, you are born into a hardworking family. A lot of the times, like for example, my mother worked very, very hard for a long time, and so has my stepfather to take care of me. And it's always been this constant, you got to make a name for yourself. You have to work hard. My mother never made me work. Actually, I started working when I was 15 as a dance teacher, and I was making my own little money. And I got my car. Then my mom, it was a hand-me-down from my sister, and I got that one. And I was making money. I wanted to do acting, but again, from a Hispanic point of view, someone who came from something that they had to work really, really hard since they were young to be able to be where they are now. Acting is kind of like a dream.
Right.
And it's a dream that's a little far. And I don't want to break your heart. And you should know that not everybody gets it. And you should know that, and it wasn't, my parents didn't do it to like tear me down, but just to get a little bit of tough skin. Because I feel like all of us, when we first begin, especially when we're younger, we think we can do anything. And unfortunately, as many people who are listening to this will know, this exact path that we have decided to take of voice acting or acting in general, rejection is the number one thing you receive.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything else.
You definitely have to have the tough skin to kind of accept that. And I think parents have the idea that they need to give us the realism of what the world is like. If you want to pursue something, by all means, go ahead and pursue it. But just know, if you fail, it's not the end. You either continue or you move on. But parents are just trying to prepare you for that. Because when I started pursuing photography, my dad's like, you're not going to make a living off of photography. You're not.
Right.
He goes, why are you going to do photography? It's like, I have a passion for the arts and all this stuff. And I'm not a full-time photographer, but I definitely make a decent income doing photography, which has
honestly, I saw your pictures on your Instagram. I was like, damn, look at Kristen with his photography skills. It was really good. You have a really, really good knack for it, an eye for it. Jumping back on the parent thing, I think it's important to understand, kids watching, that your parents are trying to do what is in your best interest. And so my mom told me, well, you know what, get a degree, and after you get a degree, do whatever you want. And I said, okay. Sometimes I did resent, because I was seeing all my friends that they were in theater, and they would tell me, and I would take like theater classes, like hiding on the side. And my teachers would be like, Yenni, like, why isn't this your degree? This should not be your plan B. This should be your plan A. But again, it's not as easy as it looks, especially when, your whole family's bankers, or, like really like high up there, and you're the black sheep. And for a while it was really tough. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to grin and bear it. And I'm going to do a psychology. I said, I'm going to do a psychology major without knowing that having a major in psychology helped 10 times more later on when it comes to character development. How do I make this character like sound like how do I act this and really feel this? And it really did help out. It was a great thing, and I thank my parents for it. And after that, I got into a relationship, and you know, things go and things happen, and unfortunately bad things can happen too. Definitely. And for like 6 years I was kind of in a loop where I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't myself, and I stopped acting or even thinking about acting. And then I moved out, and I moved into an apartment. And right before I moved, I randomly decided to go on this Facebook page called Voice Acting Alliance or something like that. And there I posted my demo reel, which was a demo reel that I made like in my closet, just like with absolutely nothing. I had no idea about mics or anything.
I am a pro.
And I put a demo reel out, and then I get this weird message just a few days later, and it's from this guy named Tony Weiss. And the message says, hey, my name is Tony Weiss, and I just want you to know, like, you got something. And for me, whenever I'd say I did voice acting to my family and to my partner at the time, it was kind of just like, okay, you know, like, that's cute. Let's continue to work though, because we have to work. We have to make money.
Right.
So it wasn't a big thing to me. And then I started talking to Tony, and he's like, hey, like, why don't we do, I want to do your demo reel. And I was like, okay. And so I did this demo reel with him, and I started like really getting a connection with him, and he started being like a mentor to me, because I never had anybody tell me that I was good at this except my theater teachers, and I couldn't agree with them more, but I couldn't do anything about it. But now that I was by myself and I'm an adult and I live on my own, I can do it. And I did it. And after that, Tony goes, hey, let's go and do a little workshop. It's a free workshop with Dave Fenoy. And I'm like, okay. And we do the workshop, and Dave lets some of the listeners come in and voice act, and like do a little script with them, and then he'll tell you how you feel, how he feels about your spunk, your spark, if you got one. And out of nowhere, I'm like, I'm just gonna raise my hand, but there's like a bunch of other people in this right now, so I'm definitely not gonna get picked. Oh boy, he picks me.
Sure, you're wrong.
And I'm like, I'm sweating in the middle of my closet. I'm my walk-in closet in my apartment. I'm sweating. I'm like, oh boy, oh God. And I do it. And I see him doing this. And then he goes, do it again, but slower, and give me a little bit more spunk. So I do it again. And he looks at the camera and he says, I am going to see you in video games. And I bawled because I had never had, it was very hard for me in the beginning. When your close family and friends don't really understand you at first and don't see this potential, any little compliment is so necessary, which is a big reason why I love the voice acting community, because these are people that don't know you but have such blind faith for you. And it's so important to be positive to people, because it makes a difference. And after that Dave Fenoy told me that, I started auditioning for a bunch of things. And then life took a really bad turn, and everything stopped. And I was alone, both personally and just mentally alone. And it was very hard, Christian. It was like probably the worst thing I have ever experienced. And I'm sure it's not going to be the worst. Life is filled with bad things, but it's also life is a roller coaster. And every dip that you get, you're going to go back up again. And, you know, roller coaster doesn't stop until the end. And at the end, well, you're going to die. So whatever. But, you know, it was a really, really bad time. But it was a time for me to focus on myself. And it is something that I talk about a lot on Center Stage with the kids that are there, as well as the adults that are there.
Right.
I talk about it a lot on my Twitter. And sometimes you need to be alone. You need to understand who you are. You need to believe in who you are. And know that every time you go through something bad, the only way to go is back up. You know, and you're going to reach rock bottom. And when you reach rock bottom, you're going to be like, well, okay.
Nothing's worse.
Let's just go right back up again.
Right.
And it did. And all of a sudden, you know, the castings I had done before, all of a sudden I get them. And I had applied for Center Stage in my closet right after everything bad had happened. And I'm just like talking just normally. And Buford goes, hey, John, I like this person. Like, you'll see it too. If you go on my casting call and you go all the way to the bottom to where Center Stage hosts, you'll see Buford's like, I like this one, get this one. And there it started. And all of a sudden I am this host. But the weirdest thing is I have never streamed in my life. I don't know how to do anything. I've never hosted, like I was a vlogger for a little bit and then I stopped. And so I'm now talking to John and he's like, okay, well, your first job is going to be to interview these 3 people. And I'm like, oh my God. And this time I am alone. I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody to pat me in the back. But I made it. Because alone is how you're going to get through most of your things. And when you learn that, you're going to go so far in life because you can't have someone always holding your hand. Right. Sometimes you just got to push yourself forward and it's going to suck. But you know what? At the end of the line, you're going to get where you want to be. And you're not going to get there alone because people do help, but you got to do it yourself. And that's when people start coming out. And they start, because when you believe in yourself, people will believe in you. And that's what I noticed. Because I used to say I was a voice actor, but I'd be like, you know, I'm trying to be a voice actor, you know. So if I don't have confidence in myself, how are people going to be confident that I'm going to be a voice actor?
How can clients be confident that you're going to do a good job?
How can that happen without you being confident? Yep. And I started noticing that through all the trials and tribulations that I went through and the time that I was alone, this made me into this strong character and this like witty person who's always happy and like I always interview people now and it's like this really, really fun thing. And, you know, recently when I got the news of this crazy thing, I was just like posting really happy, you know, vague things. And I remember like some of my friends and some people who, you know, like the people who just kind of like follow you, but they're not, you know, like they're following you, but they don't do much. Right. And I remember getting a plethora of messages. It's just like, and one of them was like, Yenni, I have never seen someone go through what you went through. And in 1 year, go 180 and be the biggest and best thing you could be. And I cried because it's one of those moments where you know that you made the right decision to be yourself. And there's so many times that I see a bunch of kids and people listening that don't want to be themselves and try to hide behind characters and stuff. Be yourself, and the perfect character, the perfect casting call, the perfect moment is going to come for you no matter what. You never have to be embarrassed about who you are, because I think that's something that happens so frequently. And when I was younger, I was always trying to be someone else. It was always, how can I be popular? How can I do this? How can I do that? And I started noticing, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to be who I want to be.
And if people like me, that means they're liking me for me.
Exactly. Not liking me for the person that I am portraying. Because although we are characters and although we're, you know, being like cool this and like spunky this or sultry this or whatever, that's not us. That's just a character on a paper that we're bringing to life, but we need to remember who we are. Yeah. So, or a mask. So, I mean, with what I'm trying to say is a lot of people are going through hard times. I think 2019 is a good year for everybody. And maybe 2019 is not a good year for some people. And maybe 2020 will be it, or 2021. But it'll get better.
I always think, I never look at a year as a year. I don't go, 2018 was great. 2019 is great. No. Every single day is a day. So why compare your entire year to bad events? I mean, yes, you're going to have bad events and bad moments. Maybe 3 months of your entire year is going to be crap, but that doesn't make your life crap. So I
Definitely.
never go 2019 is going to be a great year. I go 2019 is another day, another moment. Things are going to happen, bad and good. I'm not going to weigh the good to the bad in a year, because the next day could be the opposite.
Right.
So it's one of those things to where I think a lot of people go, man, 2018 was a bad year. Well, what about 2017? You can't look at your entire life based on a year. You have to look at your entire life as a whole.
Wow. I learned something new today. It's true. This is what I love about it too. And like I feel like you're noticing it now as a host yourself, where every person that you talk to as a host just gives you new insights, or as an interviewee, it gives so many new insights to life, because I never did think about it as a day thing, and it should be, because it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's so true. I love that. I am gonna keep that in the back. I'm gonna be like, what you learn with Christian.
In a sense, you don't look forward to your future. You don't look at your past. You deal every day trying to make the best of every day.
Right.
So if you have one bad day, that doesn't ruin your year. It's just a bad day. Tomorrow could be a better day.
Right.
Or a neutral day, just a nonchalant kind of go through it. But nonetheless, take each day at a day, because in the end, you're not going to look back and be like, man, I had a bad year. Man, I had a bad day. That's 24 hours. That's not however many hours a year is.
Right. It's true. And experiencing loss or breakups or anything like that, like, I for a long time said that the end of 2017 and the start of 2018 was dreadful. But then I also met someone who changed 2018, and I can't say that 2018 was a bad year. And you're right, because right when I thought my world was crumbling and the walls were like the world was ending, someone came in and like just changed my perspective on every single thing. And thinking about what you say, I can't. It was a tough year. There was tough days, tough weeks, tough months, but it soon became something where like it was like a numb feeling, and I was just so excited and so happy to have people who 110% support me, 110% are there for me, even if they are miles and miles away. And I started noticing too, as I said before, that I can't base my happiness on what someone else can do for me. Happiness has to be in here. And that does, and I know this is a voice acting interview, and I want you guys to know, everybody listening, this is good for voice acting.
This is
because
100% voice acting.
Leveled. Yes.
You have to be
leveled.
You have to be you
Yes.
before you can act.
At
if
all.
you don't understand you, how can you understand the next character?
Yes.
So being happy and being confident in yourself is going to tremendously allow anyone to portray and to act.
Of course, definitely. And let me tell you another good thing, and this is something I have a blanket because I'm freezing. I'm like here, like in the side, like a good thing that it's really important, especially when you're never gonna be happy every day. Let's put that out there.
Nope.
People are like, Yenni, you're so happy all the time. There are moments that I am not, especially when I'm on the 8:36 at 4:00, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get home. I've been here. This person on the side keeps honking, So you're not gonna be happy all the time. Forget that. But you need to be happy with yourself. And I love networking. Networking is something that is, oh my God, I love marketing. I market for CCC. I work for Center Stage and CCC. Buford and John are like my ultimate bosses, and I love them. They're so good to all of the team of CCC and Center Stage. And so hi guys, I mentioned you. I did my job.
And
But
now I'm done.
so like networking is really cool, but it is very hard to network if you're down or depressed and like, and you know, let me rephrase that. Not down and depressed, that's wrong. But you're just not yourself and you don't like who you are. It is shown. It is so easy to see. I see it all the time when I talk to someone or like when I interview people, they're really nervous. Like you'll see like people are nervous and they're like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And I'm like, dude, don't worry.
Chill out.
I'm here for you. Let's have a good time. We're just gonna talk like we're BFFs because guess what? You're my BFF now. And it works because when you have this sort of attitude where even if something might go wrong, it's still okay. That helps out so much, especially in networking. In networking, you have to know that like a smile goes a long way. Like it is the most reassuring action you could do. Like when I've like smiled randomly at people in the streets and they'll just be like, you know, like, because it's just nice. But it's nice because
you could change someone's day by a smile.
Yes. And networking is so important for voice acting because the more people you know, the more people you chat with, the more insight you get. Like right now, I learned something new today with you about, you know, taking it day by day instead of year. And, you know, we learn from each other, and there's not a day where you don't learn something. Even if you're all day playing video games, I bet you learn something in that video game that you didn't know before, and that's how it is. That's how life is.
Every day you learn something, which is very true.
Yes, and you know, networking itself.
Sorry, the more you network, the more people you have to support you.
Oh my God, that's so weird. That was exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That was so weird.
I'm reading your mind.
We're in sync.
But yeah, when you have people supporting you, when you have those bad days, bad weeks, months, you still have people giving you positive energy, positive thinking. People are praying for you because they want to see you succeed. They want to see you get over whatever you're going through, whether you tell them deeply or you just kind of leave it vaguely. People are thinking about you. And I think also for networking, it is good to have a brand, a business brand, because a lot of people, they think about, I'm going to be a voice actor, I'm going to be a voice talent. Are you thinking it like a business? And they go, no, I'm just doing voice acting. Sad to say, if you want to be a professional, you have to approach it as a business.
Yeah. And it's good to have a niche. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's very, very important thing too. For example, I know for sure I will never be able to do a lolly girl, like, no, it won't come out because while I'm doing it, I'm thinking this is so ridiculous. And I can't, it won't come out. And I know I sound weird, so I can't do it. And I know, for example, most of my roles are always like this hardened warrior with a past like terrible life, or a very like cordial person, or just that's just
where your
my
voice
niche.
is.
Although I do audition for things that are outside of the boxes. I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm gonna try for this. I also do like little boys. So, you know, I know where I stand, but I still try to go and do other things.
You push
But
yourself.
my main focus is what I know and where my craft is. And that is something important to know too, because a lot of people, like you said, say they're just a voice actor. Well, for what? Because you have audiobooks, you have e-learning, you have video games, commercials, radio. There's
IVR.
so many. Oh yes, there's just so many things. And sure, maybe people can do all of them, but some, like, for example, I would love to try to do an audiobook, but if I fall asleep listening to an audiobook, there is no way I'm going to be able to like do an audiobook. And I've tried, but
I wouldn't be able to do an audiobook because I can't read long form narration or long form text fluently enough.
Oh my God. You know what? Me too. That's what I noticed too. I start like mumbling and I'm like, what am I doing?
Mine, like as I read it, either it stagnates or it doesn't flow, things
Right.
like that. Or I mess up a lot. I mess up my words so often that instead of having 70 errors in an hour, which I think is the average, I would
Right.
probably have about twice or three times that in an hour of recording.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there and that's okay because that's
Yeah,
totally fine. You know what? There is a job for everyone, and
there
that's
is.
something that I have learned recently too. There is a craft for everyone. Everybody can do something, but you can't do everything, and that's okay because nobody's perfect, and that's
Well,
fine.
and then you also have to think about where is your voice because
Oh
Yenni,
yeah.
your voice is an alto.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Naturally, you're an alto, so you're not going to be getting soprano roles often.
Yeah.
And
At
if
all.
you do, it's one of the times where you push yourself and it's like, this is a character and it's challenging.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not going to be the villain or the deep, gruff warrior
Yeah.
or a deep, gruff villain. I'm going to be, as I'm casted for my villains, I'm more of the smart, uh, very
Intellectual.
tactile,
Yeah.
intellectual, so
Uh-huh.
he's more of a normal person, but has
Right.
just that mindset. I'm not gonna
Mm.
be the 200, 300-pound character that
Oh,
is
definitely. At
brute.
all.
That's
Yeah,
just
and that's and
yeah,
again, it's okay
yeah,
because that's totally I feel like when you know where you're where when you know where to put that gold star,
yeah,
that makes things so much easier. So if you have time and you want to try that like 300-pound loaf or whatever it is,
do it.
you can do it. But if you get rejected, okay.
Well,
That's
I was mentioning to Sarah Brown or, Sarah McManus,
uh-huh.
now, in our last my last, Behind the Slate, and if you audition for 100 roles, and
Mm,
of those 100, your voice only fits 30, well, of course, those you're only getting maybe cast in 1% or 0.5%
yeah.
of your entire roles you're auditioning because 70 of those ones that you audition for are already out the door.
Right.
Your voice
Exactly.
doesn't unfortunately, you're not gonna fit that.
And you know
Every
what?
once in a while, they
Uh-huh.
surprise you and they're like, "I'm gonna catch this really big guy and he's gonna have a high voice like this."
Yeah. But it
That's gonna
doesn't
happen.
always happen. And
It's
and
very rare.
and again, this comes back to the confidence talk
Mhm.
because you know when you can't hit something. You can't tell me that you don't know when you messed up a line or when you know like you're just like I've done it before where I'm doing characters and I did the whole character and I look at and I'm reading back and I'm like I can't do this character. And you know what? Delete. I don't even audition for it because
I'm
you know
done.
why?
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time because you know it's going to be in the back of my head no
Yep.
matter what.
Yep.
And that's something I'm learning now. It's the whole audition for it and let it go, but sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes you're always thinking about it, especially if it's like a role that you really, really want.
Mhm.
And you have to realize that there are people around the world too that really, really want that role. And someone that might be there's one of my theater instructors told me, you will never be better. There's always going to be someone that's better than you, and you will always be better than someone else.
Mhm.
There will always be someone better than you, and you will always be better than someone else.
And there's always gonna be someone better than that person who's better than you.
But it
Which
just keeps
then
going.
in the end, you could be better than them.
Yeah,
So even if someone's better than you and someone's better than them, you're actually better than the other person that's better. It no matter
it goes
what,
yeah.
it's whatever the character is, whatever the director wants. So it's not
Oh,
who's
yeah.
better than who, it's who is that character and who's
Right.
gonna be who has that voice match that they want or
Oh,
character
definitely.
portray if you're doing
Yeah.
theater. So I mean, there no matter how you look at it, it's not based on who's better than who. It's based
Right.
on who fits that
That one
one
thing.
out of 200 auditions. There's only one person that can play it.
Yeah.
Very
And I've
rarely do they
spoken
cast two, but very rarely. But in that case, 200 auditions, and you're one of 200. You're ready. What is that? 0.5%?
yeah. I don't know math, but I'm
That
gonna
is
say
your
yeah.
percentage. Your
Yeah.
percentage of being cast is 1/200th.
There you go.
One of
And
200.
it's true. It It's true, and it's always good. Again, the tough skin. It's
Mhm.
very you can't get sad about it.
It's not
'Cause you know what?
personal.
You gotta be happy for that person who got it.
Yeah.
Because just like you have a dream, someone else has a dream too.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's totally okay to be selfish. I 100% agree. There are times where you should be selfish. But there are times that you need to be happy for other people. And sometimes I do see that around, especially in the voice acting community. I do see it. I
Mhm.
see people are like, man, I really wanted this one and I didn't get it and someone else did. But you know what? That's life. You probably, maybe, for example, maybe the job position that I have now, maybe I wouldn't have gotten it. Maybe someone else got it. And I have to be happy for them.
Maybe
'Cause
the role that you didn't
yeah.
get was because you didn't fit that character, but there's another character that they want or
Oh,
need to
yes.
voice, and you fit perfectly.
That has happened to me.
Yeah.
That has happened to me where
It's happened to
they're
me a
like,
couple
"Hey,
times.
can you do this one instead of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And I do it and they choose me. And sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, can you do this one?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And they don't choose me. But whatever, you know,
Yeah.
that's a part of the job. And
That's
that's
the
totally
industry.
okay. Yeah, that's the industry. That is really what it is. And the more it's not about not caring. It's not what Christian and I are talking about. You should definitely care always about what you're doing and try your best. But it is also about knowing when to let things go.
Mhm.
I didn't get this one, fine, but you know what? I'm gonna try to get the next one. And if I don't get the next, I'm gonna try to get the next one. It's always a trial and error, is
Mhm.
basically. That's all it is. And something else, from networking, real quick, I'm just like bouncing around. From networking that I found is a lot of really good friendships. And uh, let me tell you, I have met so many wonderful people, and I am so happy that most of these people are going to voiceover Atlanta. Christian, are you going?
No,
No, why?
I don't have
Why?
the funds.
Well,
I'm in Seattle, so a plane ticket just to get to Atlanta
oh.
is just outrageous.
I feel like in every Comic-Con, I go to the Florida SuperCon a lot. It's my favorite. I'm from Florida, so whoever's from Florida, we should meet up. I am gonna do a meetup. I want to do it. I'm gonna say right here in Kristen's interview, I want to do a meetup with a bunch of people in Disney World this year. Maybe at the end of the year when everybody gets more funds. But I want to do it so bad. I think it would be really, really cool for all of us to like meet and have a good time. Because
Mhm.
I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it to VO Atlanta, but maybe you can make it to Disney. And yeah,
You have
it'd
to
be
give it a
fun.
name.
I don't
You have
know
to
what.
think about it.
Yeah, I do. I don't know what to call it. What do you think?
VO Disney.
Wow.
The
There it is.
VOD.
The VOD. That's it. That's what we're going to call this thing, guys. VOD happening at the end of this year. Hopefully.
So we mentioned several times about Center Stage, and open mic night. Can you tell the listeners what this is about? How do they get involved? How do they listen to it? Tell us more about it.
So, Center Stage is a Discord server, and I have been there for a year as the host, but before that, it was going on for I think several years before. I don't know. I just know Center Stage from when I started. But Center Stage is a wonderful place where you can network, you can go ahead and practice your craft, meaning anything from if you want to go ahead and script read from a TV show or script read from a bank, because we have a bank of scripts that are given to us by authors, and we put their contact information too, and you can contact the authors if you'd like for any work or commissions or whatever it may be. And it's really a place to learn and to find people like you. It's not just for amateurs, because I do have my guests come by, and from there they have made their own little Discord servers to go ahead and chat and work on different projects, or go ahead and work on different scripts. It's so genuinely nice because it's like a no judging zone, and it really isn't. We just have a really good time every Wednesday, but it's not just on Wednesdays. You can literally do this any day and it works out fine. Like sometimes I'll go in and I'll be like, hey, first come, first serve. I'm going to do this script and I need these, ow, that hurt. And I need these characters. And they'll be like, me. And then we'll go ahead and we'll script read. And then like, I might give my opinion and I might not. Or some people will give me their opinion. They'll be like, Yenni, you can do that again. That line wasn't good. And I'm going to be like, you're right, man. I'm going to do it again. And it's really, really fun. I love the vibes that we have there. We just passed 500 members, which is so cool. I started last year with 300 members and now we're at 500, which is crazy. And I was able to get more viewer counts this time around. I'm really excited. We have so many cool people coming for special guests. I will go ahead and I'll give you the Discord server link for you to post it. And I will give you guys my Twitter, which is at Yenni Ann VO. And it's just a really, really wonderful thing. I have my center stage team with me, Nancy, Jay, Anthony, who's like a little brother to me, and John, which is my boss. He says he's not my boss, but he's totally he tells me what to do. Therefore, he's my boss.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't want to say it. And like, it's just a really, really good experience that you get through Center Stage. Center Stage also works with CCC. So whoever is a special guest, you'll see them on the CCC page. And a lot of people who don't have the opportunity to, let's say, join the Discord server because they have a schedule that just doesn't go with it or something, totally fine, because every stream that we do is on our Twitch and anybody can see later on.
Right.
So it's honestly, I found this place, and through Center Stage, I have grown immensely as a person, as a host, because I never used to, like I said, I'm telling you, John and Buford took I feel like they took me on a whim, because I even said it after. I'm like, this is my first time doing anything like this, and it worked out. And I think that this also goes with, even though you know your niche, it's not bad to just like try something, because you never know. All of a sudden, you can be a host somewhere, or you can be that 300-foot goblin or whatever it is that you know, there's so many things that could go right. And also Center Stage has a bunch of networking. You meet so many people who have your same range, who want to work, who are like always looking at casting calls and putting it out there. We also have the CCC Discord that does that as well, but you know, you can bounce from either or. And mainly, I think it's just a good place for people who just got into voice acting. I want to see what this is all about, because we'll get people who just start and they'll be like, this is my first time voice acting, and they do it, and it gives them the energy to be like, well, you know what, maybe I can do this, you know, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what I'm meant to do. And in Center Stage is a really great place to figure that out, in my opinion. And it's not just because I work there. It's because I feel that way. I've been there. I will be there for a year in 2 months. In 2 months, it's been a year, and I have never looked back. I have never, ever looked back from Center Stage. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, not only for me, but for the people around me. We like to go ahead and do also live chats where people can talk to these, you know, like celebrities that we might bring in, or just like directors, writers, and all that jazz. It's not just for voice actors either. It's actually for any creator, really. Because we've had a few writers go in and they take from there, like, you know what, like, this person sounds really good for this role that I'm doing. And so really, you can get so many things out of it. And I feel like it's not something that a lot of people know about, because frankly, I had no idea Center Stage existed before. I had no idea that CCC existed. And then all of a sudden I get into Center Stage, and then I get into CCC because Buford's like, hey, you ready to just like do marketing and HR? And I'm like, okay, because that's what I do. So, it opened a lot of doors. And again, I went outside of my box, but I still do my niche, and it works out well. And through that, I also had John, and John is the owner of Voice Stubs, and I was in his talent pool, and sometimes I get some work from him too, which is great. And some people have actually heard of me from Center Stage. I've got a message saying, hey, and like, I know you're the host of Center Stage, like, I really like your voice, can you try to do this character? And I'll be like, okay, you know, like, oh my God, you heard me on center stage? Like lately is when I've really noticed it too. Like people are like, yeah, you're the host from center stage. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. And it's really cool. I think if you're looking for how to network, if you're looking for a place to start networking, to start honing your skills, center stage is a great place. We also have Scott that is in there, and Scott works a lot with people who are trying to learn how to better voice a character. He talks to you about like better ways to do it, gives you, you have to learn how to take constructive criticism. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people aren't good at sometimes. And that's something that you need to get good at, because in voice acting, I have been through it already where a director, perfect example. I did a project called Heart's Medicine. Christian knows about this project because
I was just about to mention it.
So I played the role of Allison Hart, and Christian was Stan. Hi, Stan. And then,
Hi. Hey.
Hey. So yeah, Stan didn't talk a lot. But I did this role, and I'm talking to John about it because I'm like, John, like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, I keep hearing myself as Allison, and I don't like it. Like, and then he goes, do you want me to tell you the truth? And I'm like, oh, snap.
Maybe.
And I'm like, yeah. Tell me. He's like, who the hell is that? That's not you. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, you're not. You're changing your voice. You're doing something different, and it's not what I've cast you for. It's not what I know you're good at. Right. Why are you doing this? And at first I was like, well, dang, I'm just trying something new. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, Yenni, this is criticism that you need, because you know what? John is a director too. And John knows what he's talking about. And maybe if he wasn't a director, maybe he's just someone listening and hearing and from the outside, and they can tell when something's off. And he's like, do it again, but do it in your own voice. And I did. And he heard it, and he's like, all right, that's good. And I kept with it. And it was this experience where I could have been mad about it. And I know a lot of people that don't like constructive criticism, you have to get used to it, because when you're in a studio, they're going to tell you flat out. They're going to be like, that was terrible. Redo.
Well, I think that just in general for art, you need, if you only get positive feedback, you're not going to learn from it. If someone gives you true constructive feedback, and that was something I mentioned before, I saw this thing that was going around, and they're like, please provide me with positive feedback. Sure.
I roll my eyes just because it can't always be good, guys. Guys, it can't.
And a good person who gives correct constructive feedback will both give you a compliment and tell you where you can grow.
Yeah. There you go.
That's why it's called constructive feedback. If someone is just giving you negative feedback, it's just going to be negative, and it's going to hurt. It's going to sting, especially when they don't compliment and kind of make it easier. Say like, hey, I really like this, but I think that you could do better if you did your natural voice.
I think that goes with sales and customer service, which is another great. If you have done customer service, you can do voice acting and you can do networking. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Customer service, you never say no, but you say no without saying no. Boom. Mind blown here. And that goes with the constructive criticism that you're talking about, because there are ways where you can be like, look, you know what? You did this part so well, but I want you to try to do something else for that second part, because that second part for me is not working. Right. And I'm going to tell you why. But with a compliment, it is easier. And it's like, you know what? You get, perfect example. You get a cut. It hurts. You ain't going to put salt over it, because that's just going to make it hurt more.
Right.
But you're going to get some Neosporin, and you're going to put it there. And after you put it there, you're going to put the Band-Aid. And then at one point, you're going to have to take out the Band-Aid. The Band-Aid's going to hurt. But you're going to be way better on the inside after that. Right. That's how you have to take it. That's how you have to take it. Rip that Band-Aid off. Understand that that person that's giving you that criticism might be saving you, and you don't even know it. Sometimes Tony Weiss, for example, I say, Tony, I don't know how I feel about this thing. Can you tell me how you feel about this? And he'll tell me. He'll be like, let's do this again. That was bad. Or why don't you try it like this? Or why don't you try it like that? And I owe Tony for this vague thing that I have going on. I owe him because he helped me with this. And he was like, Yenni, try it a little bit like this, try it a little bit like that. And it's always good because your real friends and your real colleagues are going to help you succeed.
Right. They're not
And
out to get you.
success doesn't come with just positivity. No, there are some people that are out to get you, and that's okay.
But your friends aren't out to get you.
Yeah, your friends should be good friends. But you know, it does happen. It does happen where a true friend's going to tell you, you know what? I need you to do this a little bit differently because I know that you can do this.
Right.
And like how John did with me, where John's like, Yenni, that's not you. And I'm like, I guess. And he's like, do it again. Do it in your own voice. And it worked. And it's something that is, I think a lot of the times in our voice acting community, we do a lot of very positive talk. And it's okay to talk a little bit about the negative stuff that happened because we're all human. Social media is very, very misleading.
You can't rely on social media because it is very false, and it will give you a very false sense of reality.
I feel sometimes people are like, you know, you're doing so well, you always get this thing. And I'm like, that's because I only post the happy things, but I'm pretty sure I could post, you know, I didn't, you know, for example, I was talking to Sean Chiplock. Really great, really great. So one of my interview, my second interview, and it was a person that I was like so excited to talk to, and I actually put him on my audition because John had asked the question like, oh, who is someone that you would like to interview? And I put Sean Chiplock, and I got him, and I was like, yes. So, which by the way, he's an awesome person. He told me, he's like, you know, I got a job, I got this offer, and after that, I didn't get anything for a few months. And that is completely normal. Yeah. And, you know, you might, like, I have gotten a week where I get, like, audition after audition, and I get them all. And then for, like, 2 or 3 months, I'm so, like, gone, dry, nothing. Yep. And that's okay. And in my the way that I think, this is why for me, I just can't do voice acting full time because I need money. So I need to do it. I have debt. So because of that, I need to pay off my debt. And I also, you know, have plans for my future. But if I could do this full time, I would totally do it. But because I made bad decisions when I was younger and I put things on my credit card, I can't do it right now.
I give you 12 years.
No, I give myself less. I am trying to be debt-free by the end of this year.
No. I give you 12 years that you might be or will be a full-time voice actor.
Oh my gosh, Christian.
I have faith in everyone in the community and everyone who is going for this full-time, or really going at this headstrong and feet first. Because obviously there are people that are even just doing it as a hobby. Well, that's great. You're doing great because that you're just doing it for the fun and the love of it. I support that fully. But anyone who is going, I want to do this full time, or I want to at least be a semi-professional making half an income, and I only want to work part time. I say if I notice them throughout the community often, then they're going to make a good splash in the clients and making themselves noticed. If I don't ever notice, if I don't ever notice you in the community on Twitter and you're trying to be a professional, sadly, you're not marketing hard enough, or you're not getting involved enough.
Right. I think so too.
Yeah.
Now more than ever, social media is like a really, really big step in your career. And, you know, I hadn't mentioned this yet because, you know, you've been complimenting me, but I got compliments for you too. Because, you know, like a really good thing that I see that you're doing is this interview stuff. There's not a lot of people that do that. I do see a lot of people that start hosting and then they just drop.
Right.
And I'm like, what? Why? You know,
I like
this is a way for you. You are networking. You are meeting new people. You are getting some knowledge that perhaps you didn't know before. You are marketing yourself because this is being on YouTube. You're marketing yourself and you're marketing the person that you're talking to, which thank you. And, you know, it helps too. And it's like you said, if I don't see you constantly pursuing, and maybe you don't have to be always on social media, but man, I better, like, if you're going to try to be full-time, don't be upset if you don't get a gig, but you haven't auditioned every single day for a pair of hours and you make sure that all the auditions you have gone for, because that's something like I know for sure. When I'm having a really tough time at work, I can't audition because I have too much stress and it's not going to work out, right? I can't assume that because I auditioned for one or two that I'm possibly going to get those one or two.
Right.
Probably not. And that's okay. But you know what? If I say, you know what, Yenni, this week I am going to audition for every audition available. And I do like 15 and I get one, I did my job.
Right.
I did my job.
The thing is, like, you don't have to, and it doesn't have to be every single day. And I think a lot of people are like, I'm overbooked, I'm overworked, I just everything, I don't have time for family or friends. Don't audition every day. Market every day. Make yourself learn stuff, do workshops, podcasts, and learn. You don't have to audition every day, but find maybe a couple casting calls that you have, say, 5, 10 built up that you're going to say, I'm going to audition 2 or 3 times a day. Because unfortunately, even me, I don't have the time to audition every day because I have a full-time job. I have a second part-time job for photography, which usually picks up in the summer. I have a family that is basically a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then this. So it's like I thankfully, because of photography, I found a good workflow and a good way to balance business life. So when I jumped into into voice acting, I already had this good sense of time management. And so, yeah, if you don't audition every day, that's fine. But don't not audition when you get the opportunity. If there's a project that is due tomorrow, audition for it, especially if you fit it.
Yeah.
But if there's 10 projects and you only fit one, and that's due in 2 weeks, maybe or maybe not.
Time.
Yeah, you have time. But that's how I'm approaching it, at least, is if I don't find anything that week that doesn't fit me, that means I just didn't find a casting call that I fit. Because I'm not going to audition for I'm not going to audition for everything that comes up on the table.
Of course, some people might, and that's another thing too you just talked about it, piggybacking on your time management skills. That is so important. So important. I promise you, everybody listening, it is so important to learn time management skills, because a lot of times I've had it happen to me where I have like 3 projects due at the same time, and I said, Yenni, you should have known. You should have done. You were laying in bed the other day doing absolutely nothing when you could have been voice acting. And this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize. Voice acting is not. It is fun, but it's a job.
It is.
And now you have people who are relying on you to do what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, if your mom asks you to clean the dishes, at least in a Hispanic home, you don't clean those dishes. There's going to be a chancleta right up on your head very soon. You know, or just like that, or you got to go to work at 9 in the morning. You best be there at 9, because maybe your boss will forgive the first time, maybe the second time, but the third time you're going to get written up. Same thing with voice acting, and you don't want to get blacklisted. You don't. People, there's so many people out there who think this is just for fun. And if you're just doing it for fun, great. Continue on with it.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to make this a job, know that your actions speak louder than the words you're giving your director.
Treat it like a job.
Yes, completely. And time manage yourself. Oh, I have my uncle's birthday this weekend, or my dog's photo shoot, or whatever it may be. Make sure that you know that you need to make time for this job that you decided to do.
Yeah. You find that you struggle with time management, as soon as you get something, find the next available day that you can audition or step into the booth and do that project right then and there. Right. Even if it's due a month later from now, do it, because then you don't have to worry about it. And I think that's one of the things that I do, and I strive to do every single time, is I try to get in my stuff as soon as possible. For Stan, again, I had only a few lines in the extras, but you said, hey, it's due in a month and a half. I sent it within a week.
Yeah, you were quick on that one, because you knew that one was a quick shot. But when you have a big one and you're talking about like maybe 60 lines or so, you gotta pace yourself. Yeah. But what I have learned, and I don't know if the same thing is for you too, I can't jump on and off of a project. Like, for example, I can't be like, okay, I'm going to voice like the first few lines for this project today and then the next few lines the next day. It won't work for me because I'll see that my tone changes. Or I pick things up differently. Oh God, I hate it so much.
Oh, it's so hard. What was the process like when you reached out to Gamehouse?
So I knew Gamehouse from a very, very long time ago. I have been with Gamehouse Studios, and their game started with Delicious Emily, and it's a time management game, as all their games are time management, which is funny because that's what we talked about. And I had been with them for a very, very long time, and I had always was like, wow, like these are so good stories. The stories are just, the writers are great at what they do because they really captivate the player. And I'm like, I wonder like why there's never a voice actor. And, I never thought much of it until I became a voice actor. And I had actually spoken to Gamehouse before. Like, I video chatted with them because they were like asking people what to think about the games. And so I would talk to them about it. They knew I was a voice actor. And I said, I'm going to come to you one day. I'm going to ask you. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. This is awesome. Like, that's cool. And I go ahead and I finally email them. And I was like, hey, so I want to try this out. I want to do this project. Are you going to let me? Because a really big thing that a lot of people don't know, it's always good to ask to do someone's project. There is copyright. So I did ask them, and they're like, yes, go for it. Like, let's see what you can do. And so I went through the process. I have edited from blogs or from things that I've done on my own. And of course my own sound when I'm doing voice acting, but I had never directed, and producing something was like odd to me, and it was such a new thing that I did, and I wish it could have been like this amazing thing. It was really good, and I'm really proud of myself, and they thought it was great, so I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. And they got it, and we're still waiting now. Hopefully it's going to be on my YouTube soon. I'm not going to monetize it just yet because I'm waiting for them, but I'm waiting for the yes to place it on YouTube, and they're perhaps going to be putting it on their social media once the game is finished, because the game's not finished yet. They were just kind of testing the field with a few things, because their games are usually super big, and it's hours of gameplay that you have for those games, and the stories are so wonderful. So I thought, I don't want something just for myself. I want it for people who I know that can do great. And so I did a casting call, and I got like over 200 in Casting Call Club. And then I got like over like 100 on Twitter. And it was so crazy. Tony helped me with it. And we picked out a cast that we thought was amazing. It wasn't paid. So they really did it out of, their own. I told them I can't pay you, but I am going to try. This is a pitch project. A lot of times pitch projects can go really good, or they can go stagnant and nothing happens. This time it did go good. I went ahead and I got everybody's information. I compiled this whole contact list for them. And I'm like, if there's any voice actor that you like, here they are. And that's where it ended. And I'm waiting on them now. I was probably going to email them this week to just be like, hey, I'm going to put it on YouTube if it's okay with you. I always think it's really good to talk to the creators. I see a lot of comic dubs. Like one of my really good friends, Ruka, she does comic dubs, and she always has their approval, and that is so necessary. You never, again, this is a quick way to get blacklisted, is doing something without asking. And with Hearts Medicine, I really hope it becomes something that we can continue. Because it was a really, really good experience, and it taught me a lot. It taught me more time management, because that was crazy. During that time, I said, if I'm doing a project, I can't give 100% to any casting director or any director. So I did not audition for anything, because I couldn't. I had to, now my focus had to be on making voice actors like Christian, voice actors like Sarah, Belle, Tony, John, all the other people that were in there. I needed to give my attention to them, because if they were spending their time to do something for me, that I was going to reciprocate to them, but still. And I feel like that's something that a lot of directors or people who are starting projects need to understand too, that when you start a project, now people have a lot of hope in you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of pressure. It's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure because my first thought is I can't make this seem like it's absolutely nothing. This needs to be the best that I can make it so that I can say that I did something for someone and it came out well, and, you know, their faith in me is still there.
Right.
Because I liked directing and I could say I want to do it again, but it's a lot of pressure. And I do know that there are a lot of times projects that don't go through. I've been in them where I've been so excited, and it was so heartbreaking to know that they decided to leave, and it was for silly reasons too.
Right.
They just didn't have the time, and if you don't have the time, don't do it. Don't even start it, because so many people are there for you. Yes, and it does. And that goes for voice acting too. If you don't have time to give your director what they need, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to place it.
That's all it is. And I feel that a lot of people start projects and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna start this game or something, and I need artists. I need this, and I'm still writing the script. I'm like, finish the script,
Right.
then get your artists, then do this, then get your voice actors.
Voice acting is like the last thing.
The last thing, unless
last
it's
thing.
gonna be an animation where you're creating the animation based on the voice acting. Majority of the time, the voice actors are the very last part of the project.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Agreed.
I see it all the time where they're like, I'm not even ready.
But I want to get voice actors.
But I want to get the voice actors. I'm like, why? You're wasting my time. And by the time you come to me, I'm not going to be excited for your project, or I'm not ready.
No.
I devoted my time to you 3 months, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and you didn't have anything.
You're right. You're absolutely. I agree 110%. And it's like it is a learning curve for us. It's a learning curve for everyone, and it's very understandable. But another thing that has happened to me is payment doesn't go through, or they promise me something. So usually now I have learned from my mistakes. Sometimes I do free projects. I do.
Right.
I do if I feel like they will go somewhere. If I see that there's potential, or that I can learn,
worthy,
or portfolio worthy, as long as it's original, I'll do it.
You're right.
And so because I'm really, copyright bothers me, you know, like I don't want to mess with that. Like I would love to. I think a bridge is super cool and stuff like that, but for me, it's just not what I do.
Right.
More power to the people who do it. You guys are awesome at what you do. I watch it, but I don't want to do it. And you know, I just lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about.
You were saying power to the people. It's a learning curve in terms. Yes.
Yes, it's a learning curve. Yes, I do. Thank you. It's a learning curve because most of the times we learn from our mistakes, and the mistakes that I made was to blindly accept without signing.
Right.
And that is something that I learned. Now I always ask for one. I always email. No DMing. Email. And Hearts Medicine people know that I emailed you guys everything. I don't want to play through DMs. I save everything through email. I get written consent some form or way, because especially when it comes to money, if I'm going to spend my time and I'm going to work like there's one project, I'm not going to talk about it, but one project I worked so long. It was like 4 to 6 hours, and it was just, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to pay you when it comes out. It came out. I didn't get paid. And at first I was really upset about it, but I thought about it and I was like, you know what, Yenni? You should have known better too. You got to get it in writing.
Right.
So for anybody listening, get it in writing. Understand that you might still have a problem. And if you have a problem,
you have a
contract. Yeah, but now you have it in writing. And sometimes even then, there's not much you can do about it. Yeah. But you got to know, like, again, that this is 100, like, there's always, you're going to have way more rejections than you're going to have, you know, like actual success. You also have to know that with payment, it might be the same thing. With projects, it might be the same thing. Where a project starts, and all of a sudden it tanks, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
And that's okay. That's okay.
It happens.
You know what? There's
That's
50
definitely
other.
okay.
There's like 50 other projects going on, so it'll
Right.
work out fine.
So would you like to do something very similar with other game companies, like you
Yes.
did with Heart Medicine?
Oh, definitely. If I could, I would. I would like to get a better studio. I would like to pay. Like if Hearts Medicine goes well, and they're like, "Hey, Yenni, can you get the same cast and do another one?" And this time, like, you can fund it in whatever way, or here's some funds, whatever it may be. I would definitely get a sound engineer. I'd get someone to do it all for me, because although I will definitely continue to direct, my knack is not producing or
Right.
sound editing. I edit it to the best of my abilities, and I produce to the best of my abilities, but really I would like to next time around have a more concrete team. Pushing yourself is all you. That part you have to do alone. But success is not brought up by yourself.
No.
There's always someone that's helped you.
Always someone supporting you and kind of helping.
Even if it's someone where you dropped $1 and they picked it up and gave it back to you, that person helped you with leading to your success.
Right.
Smallest of things.
Is there, besides your NDA, is there a project that you're most excited about?
The project I'm most excited about is the NDA, because it's the first step. But another project that I'm really excited about has to be a audio drama that I'm doing, and it's not coming out yet. I can't talk much about it either, but it's an audio drama because I just put that out there. But it's really cool because I really love the character that I'm playing. And I know it's my niche, the same type of character that I usually play, but it's a really, really good one. And I'm really, really excited about it. I think it's like one of these that, and I've never really done audio drama. That's the first one that I'm doing.
Right.
Although there is no NDA, I just don't like talking about it. I rather the director talk about it. But he will be on center stage at some point.
Okay.
And we'll be able to talk about it more. But it's really one that I have a lot of faith in. I think it's going to be a really, really good one.
So where can people go to find more about you and more about your work?
So you can go to my website, www.yenniann.com. You can check me out on Twitter. I'm at YenniAnnVO. And really, you can also find me every Wednesday on Center Stage or on Discord. You can DM me for whatever things you want. It's totally fine. I'm usually open. I can't tell you that I will DM right back, especially if it's midweek because of Center Stage, but I will try my best. You can catch me on game trailers. I did the game trailer for Aegis M, which came out last year, and it's a really, really good game. And you can also hear me on as the Allbound link system for the project, The Subject. And it's a very creepy game, but it has gotten really good marks. It's on Steam and it's available. And yeah, that's all I can talk about right now.
Well, that sounds great. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Slate with guest Yenni Ann. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to stay notified. I look forward to seeing you again.
If you haven't listened to Christian, look at his other videos. They are amazing. His YouTube is growing. He is super awesome. And he is just A+. I don't know why.
Shame, Yenni. Shame.
I thought my thing was plugged in and it wasn't.
What was I saying? Pause.
Do you hear them?
Yes, I do.
Is that going to be in the bloopers right now? Me just being like...
Yep.
I just lost my train. Do. Christian, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
We now are bonded. Oh, no. Where did you go?
My battery died. I got another one.
You know what sucks is that right when I was telling you, yeah, Christian, you and I were going to just be like this, and you like cut out on me. I'm like, wow.
Insightful. If something comes across and it's insightful.